It's time for 41 is the Mic, a weekly Chiefs podcast with Nick Jacobs of KSHB 41 and Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mic starts now.
Welcome, everyone. 41 is the Mic. I am Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest alongside coverage linebacker enthusiast Nick Jacobs from KSHB 41. Nick, how are you this week?
I'm great, Matt, and you are right. I do like linebackers that can cover tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. So, like Cobra Kai, I like No Mercy.
I definitely like No Mercy from your coverage linebackers.
No mercy.
No mercy. We got a big show today, so I don't even know how much we're really going to get into any of the news of the week. First of all, there wasn't that much news of the week. Biggest thing was we got to hear from some of the players, Charles Omenihu, Mike Edwards, Janarius Robinson, newest Chief, but I don't know if there's anything really earth-shattering or groundbreaking out of it, Nick. I mean, we are knee-deep into draft mode now. 11 days away from the NFL draft, Nick. We're getting pretty close here. It's getting serious, and we're going to dive into our final three position breakdown today before we get into our final bit of draft coverage next week. And we got a lot of stuff going on for draft week, so you will definitely want to be here for all of that. But anything on your mind, Nick, top of the show before we get straight into it?
Yes, Matt. Strike hard, strike fast, no mercy.
That should be Brett Veach's motto for the draft. You should put that up in the war room, in the draft room. Absolutely.
I want to put a sign in the draft room. Trade down for Nick, please. Speaking of, I was going to mention this. Still haven't, gotten a cordial official invitation from Brett Veach to. Remember, he said he'd have to come up and look in the draft room sometime. Hasn't. I'm still waiting. I'll even take a PTO day if that's what it's going to take to make this happen.
I mean, we need to make it happen. I mean, might need to start a petition online or something, because that's how sometimes things get done. So
no, I don't want to do anything like that. I feel like this podcast is far enough.
We have Brett Veach's presser on Thursday, so maybe we just drop a subtle hint with a question during the presser. Hey, Brett, get in the draft room, and you're going to have some guests. Who would they be?
Hey, I've still got the soundbite because I'm keeping it forever. So maybe it reappears this week. I don't know.
There you go. I don't know. Be a good time to break it out. All right, let's get into it, because we've got three positions to cover if we got time today, Nick. We're going to try and squeeze it all in here, and I'm going to beat you to the punch a little bit this week, because I'm going to start with your disclaimer, which is that if we don't talk about somebody but they're not on Nick's board that we're talking about today, there's one of two things are true. That they're either way too good for us to be talking about the Chiefs taking them, because they're not going to be available in the Chiefs pick, or even when the Chiefs could probably move up to take somebody, or they just don't fit what the Chiefs do. There's certain, we know Dave Merritt's got a style for his defensive backs. If they don't fit what Dave Merritt does, they're not going to be coming to Kansas City. So they're probably not on the Chiefs board. All of that said, is there anyone in particular in this possible list of defensive backs that you would just like to single out and talk about how great they are?
Well, you already know he's going to be the top guy on the board, Travis Hunter from Colorado.
Yes.
That guy's a rare athlete. I mean, the closing speed, the acceleration he's got, the way he baited quarterbacks to make a throw, and then just how quickly he could cover 7 to 10 yards and make a pick on them, or have a pick six, or how many passes he broke up, and just how good a position he was, how he ran routes better than some of the receivers did. Oh man, he just has all the skills to where I just think he's going to be such a good corner, such a dominant corner over time, and he's willing to tackle too. So all those things combined, I'm just telling you, I'm looking forward to watching Travis Hunter as a corner in the NFL. And if Kansas City, by some miracle, got him, bless them. Yes, if Travis Hunter's on the board, you take Travis Hunter. But that guy's not sneaking out of the top 5. It should not sneak out of the top 5.
Yeah, you gushing about Travis Hunter reminded me of another scouting report that I read about him from somewhere, which was described him as a potential Hall of Fame cornerback and a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Traded both, but better corner than receiver.
Such a dominant corner, man. Ooh. He's fun to watch. I watched a lot of his games just because I had fun watching him.
Well, we're going to find out who else you had fun watching, because there's other guys. Hey, if Chiefs have an opportunity, certain points of the draft, you'd be all for them taking. They're going to be on your board.
They will be, Matt. They will be.
All right, where do you want to start?
All right, we're going to get this party started. Now, I want you to, this is another disclaimer. This is just the order I watch the people. It does not mean this will be the order of their rankings when they're on a board. And there may be a couple people that I missed due to time constraints. We apologize to Matt Damon. But I may not be able to mention everybody. We'll see. We'll see where the time goes, because Matt and I try to keep this under an hour. And last time we tried to do that, we went an hour 21. And that's on me. So trying to keep this under an hour for you and yours so you can spend this weekend. We're trying to give you 20 minutes back. That's how much we care. Hashtag 41 is Mike cares. So, first one we're going to talk about is Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. What I liked about him is Kentucky had him in off and zone coverage. I thought he had long arms that's honestly half of the appeal for him. I thought he showed unique ability to close quickly. He timed his jumps well when he was baiting the quarterback. I thought he's more physical tackler than he's given credit for, probably. He has the speed to keep up with receivers down the field, and his ability to have a smooth back pedal, change of direction, and then drive. I thought was top shelf. I thought he was really good on that front overall. Next one's going to be from Florida State. I'm going to try to pronounce it from the pronunciation key correctly. It's Azaria Thomas from Florida State. Thomas had a physical presence, long, lanky arms. I thought he was a physical corner that wants to press at the line of scrimmage. He loves that. That seemed to be his wheelhouse. He wants to drive through the receiver and break up a football. He's not out there just trying to have an ice cream social and just see how everybody's doing. No, he's out there to strike hard, strike fast. No mercy. And he's willing to tackle, but there are times where he tries to make the easiest tackle with as limited contact as possible. There's other times where he looks a little bit more motivated, and he's not about that life of letting you get by. I feel like from a zone perspective, he's going to need a little bit of work in that front to get comfortable with it, because he just has a physical mentality and mindset that I think whatever team gets him is going to really like that. Then I'll get to the next one, and then we'll give the floor to Matt Derrick. Next one's going to be Savon Ravel, the junior from East Carolina. I know he had a knee injury. I believe it was an ACL. So and on my board, I'll put INJ for that. Ravel had some of the best closing speed outside of Travis Hunter that I saw. He can sit in zone, or he can chase and trail and be able to still undercut the route from 5 to 9 yards away. To time a pick well if he needs to. I thought his acceleration when he blitzed or when he was coming around the edge on a field goal block were just right up there with Hunter. He did drop a handful of interceptions, but he found himself in position to make a play. So work on the hands, and he may have a lot of turnovers in his future. I thought his leaping ability was second to none. In this draft, he had long, lanky arms. He isn't a physical tackler, but he's willing to be a speed bump. So that's, he's going to make you slow down in a school zone, but he's not going to completely, derail you. So Matt, the floor is yours.
I mean, I see why you like all three of them. I mean, in particular, Ravel and Thomas, they're both long, lean corners. That's what the Chiefs like in that 6'1", 6'2" category. I mean, Mad Max Hairston was the fastest guy at the combine, 4.28 speed. So that explains why he's the top of the draft. If you can get speed and the 5'11", it's on the cutoff. But hey, Trent McDuffie's 5'10", and he's pretty fast. Think Hairston would fit in perfectly and also, I mean, he's. All three of these guys, I mean, they're tough, and you have to have that toughness, in order to play for Dave Merritt. You got to be willing to play the run, and all three of these guys have achieved that. Ravel, like you mentioned, with the injury, the ACL last year, really the only concern I have of that group. He missed the last 10 games. Is he going to be ready for this season, the beginning of the year? That would be just. anytime you got a rookie injury that you're dealing with, and if they're going to miss training camp, anything like that, it puts them behind the 8 ball. And with the Chiefs, I mean, if you're taking a corner early, you need that player to probably contribute. I mean, let's face it, that's one of the reasons why the Chiefs would be looking at corners, to have somebody who can make an impact now. 2 of those guys could for sure. Could Ravel? I mean, that's maybe more of a question, but I can see why all 3 of them are on your top of your board, because they all fit what Dave Merritt wants to do.
That's right, Matt. So the next one we're going to go to is going to be Jacob Parrish from K-State. Matt and I are aware of him. We had him on the show. We interviewed him, so you can definitely check that out. It was basically like a week or 2 after his combine performance. I think it was just a handful of days after his combine performance.
Yeah. So and he had a heck of a combine.
Mm-hmm. And he's here locally. He went to Olathe North High School. His brothers are playing at K-State, so good family, good background there. Parrish, he's going to get knocked for his height, but from what I saw on film, he plays like he's 6'2". So that in itself is something worthy of noting and marking down. I thought he had really good speed. He can stay in the hip pocket of a receiver. Parrish could play slot. He can definitely play slot. Could play nickel if you want him to. And I think you can sneak him in outside after you've gotten him enough time in the league. His quarter turns I thought were really smooth. He is capable of press, off coverage, and zone. He can do all 3 and do them comfortably. And he knows how to get his head turned around and not lose position. That is a tough thing for a corner to do. Parrish does it insanely well. Next one on the miss. Ole Miss is going to be Trey Amos. Amos has long arms. He's able to get into position, but he isn't always in perfect position. Amos is a press coverage corner that gets physical and can really slow down a receiver for the first 5 yards. He's going to need a coach that works with him from a zone coverage perspective to trust what you're seeing. Know it's okay that you don't move, that you stay right there in that zone and play the role, and just know that it'll work in your favor, and you can drive on the football once you trust everything that you're seeing. I thought he reads and reacts well off screen passes. Run defense, not sure if he's at speed bump level, but it does exist. We'll go to the next one. I think he could be a safety, could be a corner. I think he's kind of in between. It's going to be Caleb Ransaw from Tulane. Ransaw is very active in run support. He's a physical tackler. His blitzes have a little hitch in terms of the fluidity. He's good at redirecting receiver out of press coverage, and his ability to stick with him is there. It's not flawless, but it's there, and that's half the battle. He seems to be more comfortable in zone, and I think that will help him early on if he goes to a team that lets him play zone while they potentially work on some of the man coverage. Because right now, tracking the ball out of man coverage, I think, is it's a work in progress for him. And I think keeping up with the inside receivers, the slot receivers, I think if they're a fast, shifty style, I think right now he's trying to learn the finer points. So, like I said, could play safety and play zone and be perfectly fine. Could play zone in a defense, I think he'd be perfectly fine. But there's enough intrigue there for me that I see promise in the way the Chiefs would potentially use him. All right, Matt, I think that's 3.
That is 3, and
I can count.
another great trio. I mean, there's not a lot to dislike there. Amos has got a really good. I mean, once again, the good size, everything. The other thing that he had in college that Dave Merritt and Brett Veach in particular. I mean, Brett Veach, one of his things that he really favors is production. Didn't have a ton of interceptions, only had 4, but he had 16 passes broken up last year, 35 in all of his years. He also had 6.5 tackles for a loss. I mean, and 50 tackles last year. I mean, that's a lot for a corner. So, I mean, I do think that, shows that he's willingness to stick his nose in there and to make plays. I mean, sometimes that just tells you that you're giving up a lot of passes. I don't get that from his performance. I mean, it seems like that's a little bit more of him just being everywhere and making plays. And now he had like 3 stops. I don't even know if that's really a concern anymore for most people. I mean, and obviously he had 2 of those seasons were in the SEC, so it's pretty good there. Jacob Parrish, we're both big fans of. I mean, there's no doubt. Like I said, I keep calling him. I mean, I don't mean it as a derogatory. I keep calling him a mini McDuffie because he's even though he's almost the exact same size as Trent McDuffie. I can't call him a 2.0 because Trent McDuffie's the original, but he's just a really, really good copy of Trent McDuffie. So, I mean, I can see why the Chiefs would be interested in him. Ranshaw didn't have the production that the other guys did, but again, there's obviously a lot of athleticism there.
All right, Matt, we're keeping this party going so we can try to stay on time. Next one on the list is going to be Darren Porter, Iowa State. I'm a huge fan of his. Love his size, arm length, and he's just the size I think the Chiefs would want in a prototypical corner. Iowa State had him playing off and soft, and then also in zone coverage. And for people that don't know, they're playing. When I say off and soft, that means they could be playing 5-7 yards off the line. It's kind of a soft coverage, but it's a man coverage style, and they kind of drive on the football. They're trying to bait a quarterback into throwing and making the tackle. So some guys like to do that. And Porter, he's primarily reading what was in front of him, and I thought he had good tracking skills with the ball whenever it did get thrown when it did get thrown deep, or whenever he had to adjust accordingly to it. I thought he reads the line of scrimmage well in run support and adjusts to it and funnels it back inside. He's able to get physical with the block in run support. He's able to shed it and then dive for the tackle. And I thought he had a very good knack for blocking kicks and punts. So from a special teams perspective, I think that was a big plus for him that can help him with a guy by the name of Dave Tope. Next one on the list is going to be Dorian Strong from Virginia Tech. I thought Strong had the size and arm length that Chiefs covet. He likes to play in trail at times to bait the quarterback, then close and use his long arms to create the deflection. And let's see here. He can be a force at times in run support. The opening on his quarter turns and running is a tick behind, and I think hurts him on some of the deep passes. Then the final one of the three we're going to talk about here before I hand the floor back to Matt is going to be Noel Williams out of California. Williams is really good at tracking the football. I thought he adjusted accordingly. He doesn't hesitate at flying upfield to make a tackle and run support, and he doesn't come in too hot most of the time either. I thought Williams looked comfortable in press, off, and zone coverage. He will get a little aggressive driving at times in zone, not in run support, but in zone. And I thought he had good timing when he's in the hip pocket of a receiver to smack the ball. I don't know how to phrase this exactly, but when a receiver takes an outside release, I thought Williams always did a good job of pressing them to the boundary, forcing them to the sidelines, and making as tough of a window as possible for the quarterback to throw into. And I thought he really did that, and I thought he just had a knack for that I don't normally see from a lot of corners coming out of college. It seems like some learn that later, but it seems like Williams has already got that. And I thought he had good vision and build up speed as a kick returner. So again, another guy that can help in special teams in that front. Matt.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch because of the guys, three guys in that group. The one that I would definitely underline is Dorian Strong. He had a punt block in each of the last 4 seasons. He also had a field goal block, so 5 block kicks. Different style than BJ. Why am I blanking on BJ's last name? Defensive end.
Oh, Thompson.
Thank you. I almost said Thompson and was like, wait a minute. BJ Thompson. Thank you. Brain fog. Brain fog. Shades of that, but different positions, different players, but obviously a knack for finding the football. So really intrigued there. And I know, Dane Brugler's great draft guide. He noted that Matt Campbell, head coach at Iowa State on Strong, said that he was the most selfless, biggest heart player on the team. That stands out. Coaches are giving you endorsements like that you're the most selfless guy on the team. It says a lot.
So, all right, continuing on with the list now. Sorry, I didn't have a good transition there. That's on me.
That's on me.
Zy Alexander from LSU. Alexander, physical and run support, and he can lay a proper form tackle on the ball carrier. That's something I like to see, and that gives you high marks. Thought he tracked the ball well. I thought he had deceptive speed but it's based on his long stride, so you don't think he's getting there as fast. And you're like, oh, yeah, he's striding really long, and he just got there perfectly. He showcased that he can a couple times that he could perform some quality blitzes in the Chiefs scheme. I thought he did a good job of staying with the receiver and man. I thought he's a well-rounded corner that fits the Chiefs in a variety of ways in the coverages that they like to run. And I thought Alexander positions himself well and off when he's passing off and picking up the routes from a pattern matching and even zone perspective. Thought he had an impressive vertical that could lead to some nice deflections on interceptions. And I think Alexander would help himself at the next level by turning to find the football so he doesn't give himself penalties. So that's a hope of mine. Next one's going to be Zay Frazier from Texas San Antonio. Frazier, I thought he was lanky, long-armed corner. Thought he had good speed and acceleration overall. He knows how to track and adjust to the football in the air. That's something I'm always looking for in a corner, and I note that when I see that. Frazier, I thought, was willing to be physical and run support. Again, this is where he's unique. He has a knack for blitzing off the edge and deflecting a pass. And he tore up some slants. He's tore up some screens, just purely showing that and then wanting to get the ball out quick, and he timed his deflections to it and blew up those plays. He's very comfortable in zone, and you don't have to really worry about that. I think a good coach will help him improve some press and the ability to get comfortable turning with the receiver and get that down to science for him. I think he needs to trust himself at times and understand that it's okay. Don't bite on the double move. So just wait a tick and don't bite on it. So let's see. That's two, right? And I got one more. All right.
One more.
Next one, people are going to know in this area locally. It's going to be Kobe Bryant from Kansas. Bryant played both off coverage and zone. Thought he had good acceleration. Again, he tracks the ball. Thought he closed well. He's also a willing tackler. His ability to kind of decipher the route combinations, I think, really showcases in zone. He anticipates when he's in off coverage. I think he anticipates rather than just kind of lets it happen sometimes and gets himself burned. And I think he kind of bails a little too quickly on his quarter turns. This is what we were taught in school. So, Matt, floor is yours.
Zay Alexander and Kobe Bryant, oddly enough, both from a production standpoint, same stats, 35 passes broken up in college, 13 interceptions for both of them. So it's kind of I made a coincidence more than anything else, but good production. I mean, it's for both of them, so that's pretty good key. Frazier also has some local ties. He spent some time at Coffeyville Community College down in Coffeyville, Kansas. So there might be some Chiefs fans that are already a little bit familiar with him. Again, I mean, all these guys have good size. It's just, what are you getting at this point in the draft? Your mileage might vary a little bit, but I can see why the Chiefs would be interested in all three. I might say, once again, Nick, let's see why they're on your board. Making sense.
Yeah. So, Matt, we're down to the final three cornerbacks that I'm a big fan of.
Lay them on us. The
final three. We're going to go with BJ Adams from UCF. Adams has the height and size you want as a corner at 6'2". I felt where he's at his strongest suit right now is in man coverage, where he likes to alter receivers' routes. It's gonna be about a coach working with him on what he's reading and seeing, and when he's in off coverage and in zone, he looks like he'll hesitate at times. He's not 100% just confident in himself, and I think that's just going to take a coach working with him on that front. And then there's other times where he's good with it, and he'll have a pick six like he did against Iowa State. So I think having a coach like Dave Merritt, I think, could really tap into all his potential that I saw there on tape. He just needs the finer points from when he's not on the line of scrimmage built up, and I think he could be a fun corner. Jordan Hancock from Ohio State. Hancock's a physical corner that is a ferocious tackler. I don't use the word ferocious lightly, and I don't use it very often. So he has good speed, acceleration overall. I feel like he could play multiple spots in the Chiefs secondary. I think he's a very, very versatile player. He's got a very physical punch and press coverage, and he can reroute receivers, which I like. And then above all else, I think Hancock could play safety, nickel, slot. I think he can play all those, and I think that would be very valuable in the Chiefs scheme with the physicality and attitude he plays with. And then the final quarter that I'm a big fan of is going to be Odell Fortune from South Carolina. Fortune, good speed, good acceleration. Again, can track the ball like some of the other guys I mentioned, but he is able to peel off his coverage to make a pick because he's got the athletic ability to be like, all right, I'm here. Oh, I see the ball. I'm going to come back and help out here, and that's my ball now. So Fortune, I think he's got really good quarter turns that allow him to open up and accelerate quickly and change of direction quickly. I thought his ball skills really shine in zone coverage. Now, in the tackle department, needs a little bit of work, but with how late he's potentially going to get drafted, I think. So for anybody that's kind of wondering, I'll just go through them real quick in terms of potential draft. Travis Hunter, who we talked about, going top 5. Hairston, I think, is probably going to be, I'm hoping, second round, but maybe late first. Thomas from Florida State, I think, is going to be in that second round range. Revel, I think, is going to be in the second round range because the ACL, maybe third. Parrish, I think, is going to go in that third round range. Amos thinks going to go in the third round range. Darian Porter, I think, is going to go late second into the third round range. Dorian Strong, I think, is going to be kind of in the fourth. Noel Williams, I think, is going to be in the fourth. Caleb Ransaw, I think, is going to be in that fourth, fifth round range. Zy Alexander, I think, is going to be fourth, fifth round. Zy Frazier, I think, is going to be in that kind of fourth, fifth round range. And then Kobe Bryant, I think, is going to probably be more fifth round, maybe sixth. And I think BJ Adams is going to be in that fifth, sixth round range. Jordan Hancock, I think, is going to sneak in to that fourth, fifth round range. Odell Fortune, I think, is going to be kind of in that sixth round range. So we'll see on that front, but we'll see in general. And I may change those just a little bit whenever I got the board stacked. I'm looking at it all like a big old, puzzle. But right now, that's kind of where I kind of saw those guys. Matt.
Yeah, Donald Fortune is really kind of stands out to me for some reason, simply because, he's not super highly regarded prospect anywhere. He's like you have him, later in the draft, and seems to be where his general perception is. He was honorable mention All SEC. He was defensive MVP at the East-West Shrine Bowl. Some of it's just a little bit of lack of experience, at the college level. Didn't really play until the last couple of years, and he's, so maybe that's just a little bit of it. Maybe he's a late bloomer, late development, but that could be, especially with the Chiefs, you got, so right now you got 3 7th round picks. That could be a late guy that maybe you find that is a diamond in the rough and certainly a special teams contributor.
That's right, Matt.
All right. Well, we're done with corners. We are moving on to safeties, and, hey, let's acknowledge Chiefs now have a lot of depth at safety. Obviously they have some youth. They brought back a veteran in Mike Edwards. They've still got even a veteran like Deion Bush. They've got a lot of safeties, Nick. I don't know if this is a huge need for them, but at the same time, Chiefs are always going to tell you can't have enough guys in the defensive backfield.
And now, and with what's going to happen over the next year or two, it's not a bad idea to have an additional safety if you get additional picks. Right now, no, I don't put it at your top priority, but if you happen to pick up another third, another fourth, another fifth, if you can pick up all 3, that'd be great. But yeah, if you can pick up some extra picks, then I think that's where that gives you the benefit of potentially getting a safety or a linebacker. So we'll start this party with Malachi Starks from Georgia. Starks physical and run support. He will come crashing down upfield, but then he correctly will throttle back, shuffle, get under control, and make the tackle. Starks doesn't have he doesn't have the panic in his coverage like some people do, and so that's good on that front. He puts himself in good position. Starks has the range to be in both. For me, he can be single high, he can be 2 deep. I think he has both of that ability. like I said, he can be a little aggressive at times when it comes to double moves and misdirection. But if he can get that discipline fixed on that front, then you don't have a lot to worry about. Next one's going to be Kevin Winston, Jr. from Penn State. I thought Winston had good acceleration, closing speed. I thought he had good pursuit angles. Winston is a fundamentally sound tackler, so I cannot complain there. I thought he looked at his best when he was at strong safety near the line of scrimmage, helping in run support. And I think he could potentially cover tight ends. But if you put him deep, covering half the field, I thought he was uncomfortable, and I wouldn't put him in single high either. So he would be more of kind of a run support, work over the short intermediate part of the field. Then the third one we're going to do is going to be Latham Ramsden from Ohio State. Ramsden is the type of football player you need on your team. He's a tempo setter, flies downfield, and will lay people out for fun and for football. And he's like, sir, this is a Wendy's. No, I'm just kidding. Ransom has, I thought he has great speed, acceleration, and he's able to close on receivers. I thought he navigated through traffic well. And above all else, I think he can be in too deep without a problem. But I feel like he is a true tempo setter at strong safety. But he was one of my favorites at safety that I watched. Matt.
Yeah, Ransom. More and more you talk about him, and the more and more you see about him. I mean, he does really have a Chiefs kind of vibe to him. Comes from a military background, so apparently just the discipline there. Played special teams in his final year. Last year, played special teams pretty much all full time. I think he had a block kick last year. I mean, once again, great special teams player. It's what the Chiefs like. Just all around quality, I think, in those three guys right there. But Ransom, I thought you were going to say he likes to hit for fun and profit. That's what he's going to be doing for now, for sure. He's going to be in the pros, Nick, so it's all about the profit.
That's nailed it, Matt. Couldn't have said it better myself. Strike first, strike hard, Cobra Kai. I probably said that wrong, but I don't care at this point. Next one's going to be on our list is out of Texas, Andrew Mukabu. He has good lateral quickness. I like the acceleration and close on the ball carrier. I thought he read the routes well and knows when to attack, when to sit back. I thought he had really good leaping ability to come up with some interceptions. And Mukabu can make some big hits. And I thought he was really sound in pursuit angles. So he had that going for him. Next one, this is another one that's a big favorite of mine. Is going to be Jonas Sanker from Virginia. Sanker has really good speed and acceleration that give him the range to cover deep. He just may not always take the exact angle needed to get there. I thought he tracked the ball well. Thought he had really good size that allowed him to compete against the tight ends or slot receivers and not have a lot of issue. That Sanker is a good gunner and open field tackler in special teams. Sneaky good at that, to where I think if you're getting a safety who can play special teams at his level, that justifies using a pick in that front, because not only could he develop a safety, he can also be a good special teams former. Here's the other part. He was also able to block a couple of field goals. So I saw those. I was like, yep, sold. Lost Justin Reed there. Maybe get this guy to help with that front. He is able to make a tackle, but he's not going to try to light up the defender every single time in the way that Ransom will. And I thought his ability to quickly disengage from a block, that's going to be something I think they're going to have to tweak a little bit. And if they can do that, I think he'll be a really promising safety. Again, he's going to need to learn to not bite on play fakes and do not let people get behind him. So once he learns those things, I think he will be a well-rounded safety overall. And I'm trying to remember where I'm at in terms of, one more left.
One more.
All right. Next one for me is going to be Kitten Crawford from Nevada. He's a Nevada, depending on how you pronounce it, because I've heard it both ways. I know the one in Missouri and then, the one that's a state. Crawford is a very aggressive safety. He has no hesitation. There are no breaks, just speed. And, but yeah, his blitz and run support, he's coming up to hurt somebody. And that's what I love about him. He's got good speed, good acceleration. When he comes in with proper form tackle, he destroys a run, and it's over. I hope you had fun. Thanks. Call your next play. And the problem is, though, there are times where he really wants to throw a shoulder in too much for a big hit. But where his biggest appeal is from an athletic perspective that I think Dave Toub would love is I think he's going to be a strong 4-phase special team performer with the effort that he has and the overall athletic ability.
Nevada.
Because I know some of the people. Here's where
the state is Nevada. It's Nevada, Missouri.
Yeah, because I'm that's what kind of threw me for a loop sometimes because I had friends at college at Central Missouri that were from that town, and so like they called it that, and sometimes it throws me for a loop and creates doubt in my head and my heart.
Close enough to be in the Ozarks, where we pronounce things in the Ozarks a little bit differently than other folks do. So. But again, 3 players that would make sense for the Chiefs. They're great special teams players, and a couple of those you mentioned it. Also, some good speed in that group. Sanker, I think all those guys. I think, except I'm trying to remember Crawford's speed, but I think the other 2 guys were both in the 4.4 range. It's really good speed, decent production again with those guys. Once the Chiefs have a type, and those 3 guys are the type.
That's right, Matt. And they hopefully will swipe right on one of them with the draft. Next one we're going to talk about is going to be Malachi Moore from Alabama, another safety I really do like. Moore has sneaky good athletic ability. He's got really good timing on his blitzes. I think that's what I love the most about him. And he forces the quarterback to get rid of the ball where the quarterback's like, I got this. I don't got this. All right, throw it. I thought Moore's really relentless in the effort game run-wise. Where I feel like he's best is when he's able to show off his range in 2 deep. I thought he was very good there, and I think that's going to be I'm curious to see where he goes based off that 2 deep aspect alone. I thought he could track and close really well on passes. Alabama used him 2 deep, single high, used him in the slot, and also in run support. So what Moore got to do is he has anticipation for routes. He gets good position and breaks up the pass because of how versatile they used him in their defense. At minimum, his floor, I think, will be a very, very good 4-phase special teams performer. But I think in like a Chiefs system, I think he can be a potential fan favorite down the road if he can take to the coaching that the Chiefs would give him. Let's see. Next one on the list is going to be Craig Woodson from California. I thought Woodson had the size, arm length, and speed to be a successful safety for the Chiefs. He will immediately be a 4-phase special teamer. He's willing to be physical and run support. It's a work in progress at getting there with authority. He processes quickly, reacts even quicker. He doesn't waste movement, especially in his quarter turn. It's quarter turn, go! And he will need to improve the pursuit angles on plays near the sidelines. But if he does that, he can be an overall safety, just like that, like together. So let's see. Where am I at? Am I at 3 or am I?
You got 1 more.
All right. See, man, I get so amped up about talking about these players. Next one is going to be Marquise Siegel from K-State. I like his size, like his speed. He's going to need to throttle back when he's crashing down and run support, but that dude lays the wood. He does not have to speak softly because he's going to smack you. So you'll be like, who was that? Did somebody get the license plate number on that gentleman? Siegel, he'll be a great special team player alone, just off what I already talked about. Now, I think he needs work both in man and zone coverage, but you would be getting him very late in like the 6th, 7th round range. So that's to be expected at this point. Matt, I got 2 more, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, with Siegel, I think the biggest thing that was standing out to me and looking at his, breakdown and everything, a lot of production. I mean, again, he had 26 passes broken up, 7 interceptions at K-State, got good coaching, that. So, there's going to be a lot to like there. 4.37 speed, once again, lot to like. Team captain. I mean, these once again sound like all the traits that Brett Veach ticks off in the room when they're talking about defensive backs. And I remember, it was Malcolm Moore in that group, or Malcolm was the first one in this group, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
A lot of the same things, a lot of production, which you gotta like. The only thing I really read about him and in the notes that I've seen and everything is that you mentioned about him taking to coaching, and that was one of the issues, is that he's a bit of a hothead. So, whether or not the Chiefs feel like that's something that they can deal with, sometimes that's a flag for them, because they like for guys to play within their. You want to show your personality, Nick, but you got to check it at the door. And obviously, they've got some guys that have figured out how to check it at the door. But that might be the only blemish on his real record, is that he has been kind of a hothead at times.
Well, Matt, championship team can definitely fix that. So
fix your attitude, or you're gone.
Check yourself, as Ice Cube said, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So as long as he follows Ice Cube's key words, he'll be fine. We're down to the final two safeties. It's going to be Hunter Wooler from Wisconsin. Wooler is trying to lay the ball carrier out. Does not matter what else is going on in the world. He's going to go punish them. I thought he lacked top end. He doesn't necessarily have top end speed or acceleration. I think he can match up with tight ends, and I think he can secure the flats from a zone perspective. He would struggle in two deep. I think he'd struggle in single high. So, again, we're going to be talking about 5, 10, 15 yards near the line of scrimmage. But I think he'd be a physical special teams performer, and he has the ability to kind of adjust to things, change the direction, but takes a couple ticks. And again, this is going to be a late round guy anyway, so that's to be expected. And my final one is going to be Rayon Lane from Navy, another guy I like. But for him, the reason I really like him, I think Lane can be a really good gunner and could play on kickoff right now on special teams and make a comfortable living for quite some time in the NFL, just purely based on the athletic ability he has and how strong he could be in those positions. He shows off good acceleration. I thought his change of direction and run support was good as well. He looks like he's at his best in terms of zone coverage, where he can read the quarterback's eyes, jump the route. I think he guesses a little bit at times, and it can burn him if the quarterback wants to attack him and manipulate him. So, Matt, those are my final two safeties, and we're going to have a little bonus here in a minute.
First of all, I love the fact that I think pretty much while you were watching film of safeties, if they didn't lay anybody out, I think you must have just turned off the tape, because you only like safeties that lay out people.
I like
if they couldn't lay them out,
lie. Other people can deny.
You like safeties who lay out, and you will not lie. So
I like safeties who hit, and I cannot lie. Other people deny when a safety walks into coach's film with a big hit. It needs work. Sir Mix-a-Lot did a lot better than I did. We tried. Yeah. The one thing that stood out in the Hunter Wooler notes on him from the scouting reports is that he hates losing. So that's going to win anybody over. I mean, if you hate losing, you know what? Winning's a lot better than that. Matt, you make points I can't dispute.
He would probably be in a good mood a lot in Kansas City, because they don't lose very often.
Well, then he would hate it even more when they lost. So
exactly.
That's maybe that's good for the locker room.
All right, everybody, we got bonus content here.
Bonus content.
Linebackers. If you thought safeties, Nick only likes safeties who laid guys out. Linebackers even more important.
Well, linebackers is a little bit different. I like him to cover and be fast. As Gerard Dyson said, that's what speed do. These guys have speed.
They better be able to lay out receivers, right?
On time, sure. Early, the ref's going to call the flag.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to give my top 5 safety, or not top 5 safeties, my top 5 linebackers. These are my favorites among the bunch. I'm not going through all of them, but I'm going to go through my top 5. So number 1 on the list is going to be Carson Swessinger. Carson comes under control when he's attacking out of UCLA. He's my favorite of the bunch, number 1 in the mix. He's got great downhill acceleration when he's blitzing and shooting the gap. Quarterback, running backs don't stand a chance. I thought he gathers himself well when he's filling the gap, and I thought he could adjust to the ball carrier if it goes a little bit differently than he was expecting. Thought he does a really good job adjusting to where the back's going to go. He had D linemen that kept him clean, so that's probably going to be key wherever he goes. When he's dropping into zone, he can't open up his hips insanely quick and drop. Needs a little bit on that front, a little bit of time. So that's up to the pass rush and corners to help out on that front. It's a little bit of a process, and it can cost him at times against teams that run quick hot routes. So as long as you can keep him from running hot routes, it's going to go all right. I thought he's very measured in his coverage, drops, and versus when he has to rush back to a spot, at a high level speed just to get to there and everything. He also does a good job of driving through the ball carrier to finish the tackle or sack. Number 2 on the list, and this guy might be my favorite, is Barrett Carter from Clemson. Athletically, Carter is everything you want. He's fantastic in his closing speed. He has no wasted movement. He's lethal as a spy backer, and he knows how to drop in his zone, read the quarterback's eyes, and deflect the football. He did it a ton. I thought Carter had great timing in his blitzes because of how fast he is. Thought he had good timing on rushes and deflections. He has a very aggressive mentality, and he will battle through screens or blocks to get to the ball carrier. I think he's going to be a really, really good will backer if he were with the Chiefs. Next one, this is kind of selfish on my part, and his name is Danny Stutzman from Oklahoma. Stutzman is a throwback purely because he's got the neck roll. He's very physical Mike linebacker coming downhill. Thought he mirrored the ball carrier well. I thought his shuffles with his reads were in a controlled manner, and I think he accelerated at the right time and came downhill at the right time. Stutzman knows how to drive through on blocks, and that's a very underrated trait to be able to have. I thought he had a good grasp of what he was reading, how to attack and when to attack. I didn't see a ton of him in coverage, but I think he would be limited to zone just because of what I saw athletically. Like Stutzman back in the 90s would be a rock star. Right now in this era of football, a little bit different. So at that point, we're at 3, Matt. I'm just going to finish out the final 2 just for the heck of it because we're going top 5 here. Next one, Teddy Buchanan from California. Hands down, my favorite. And look, I like all these linebackers, but Teddy Buchanan's my favorite from California. Now, why do I like Teddy Buchanan so much? He has insane acceleration and overall speed. He'll be a will linebacker in the Chiefs scheme if they get him. Crossing my fingers, they do. He can chase down the ball carrier quickly. He brings the heat on blitzes in the blink of an eye. He will be awesome on special teams. He's got lateral quickness. He can change direction. And I think he's probably more underrated than what people give him credit for. And I know he had that play at the Shrine Bowl that got sent to me by my dear friend Kent Swanson. And dude, like the way he ran just was right there. Didn't even have to turn his head. He got there in position, and that was never going to happen. We're going to work out. Still one of my favorite things I've seen during the draft process. And then finally is going to be Jackson Woodard from UNLV. I think Woodard's a sneaky, good late-round pick. I think he has the athletic ability to be coverage linebacker pretty quickly. I think he'd be a good will backer. I think he can play in both man and zone coverage. I think he reads the quarterback's eyes well and jumps the route routinely. He did drop a lot of interceptions, but I liked his downhill as a blitzer. I think he can slip through some blocks, and I think he's willing to battle through them, but I think he kind of needs to be taught how to routinely be able to defeat them and battle through them. He'll get his shoulder in and drive through the ball carrier, which is the key to stop that momentum and to be able, if you can't make the tackle, to have your teammates be able to gang tackle on him. I think at minimum, he could be a coverage backer in sub packages and a great special teams performer. And if he gets enough playing time, I think he'll be able to decipher the run a little bit quicker and be able to take a benefit from the athletic ability and pair it with what he's seen. So, Matt, I believe those were my 5 favorites.
Sure, 5. I guess, okay, so Swanson, I guess, gets the assist here for helping you discover one of your draft crushes because...
No, he showed that to me after the fact because Kent waited, and I'm not gonna reveal everything, but like he wanted to know what I thought of backers after I got done, and then once I told him that Teddy was in one of my favorites, he's like, "Dude, you're gonna love this clip. Send it to me." Kent knows me well. That's all I can say.
I was just going to say, I mean, I'm trying to remember, but I believe there might have been a third one. I'm just not remembering. But this tells you, I mean, you know, Nick really loves a player when he sends the video to me. So, because I think there's 2 players that he has sent me clips of during draft season.
Tell me more.
It's Buchanan.
That's one.
And Brashard Smith from the running back from SMU. So
that's another one.
Was there a third one?
I don't know.
I have to go back and look.
I guess we'll keep it a mystery, Matt.
But that tells you right there, you know, whether how much does Nick Jacobs like a player? That means they're in select company if Nick is sending me the video. So I will add this about Danny Stutzman too, because you mentioned that being a throwback and everything like that. The dude had 36 tackles for a loss in college. 36. I mean, there's probably going to be some linebackers in this draft that didn't have 36 tackles. No. I'm kidding. There's not, but 36 tackles for a loss. That dude was getting his mail in the backfield behind the lines.
He had a PO box back there. He checked it.
Yeah, I mean, he had passes broken up, interceptions, 14 total. That's production right there. There are defensive backs that didn't have that much production. I mean, this dude. Mm-hmm. You're right. I mean, he is definitely a throwback. And Schlesinger, I mean, the only thing that worries me there is because he got injured at the end of the season and didn't participate in the Senior Bowl or any of the Combine Pro Day stuff. So we don't know his numbers. If he tested, I'm just wondering if there's a chance that maybe he wouldn't be as high on some people's boards. I mean, because we don't have the official speed or anything. But, I mean, his story is incredible. I mean, walked on at UCLA because he just never really got any notice, got put on scholarship, and then he's a first-team All-American. I mean, that's just a remarkable journey. So something about the kid stands out. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I know somebody may ask in the comment section, where do you see these guys going that are your 5 favorites? Carson, Schlesinger, I think is going to be like 3rd round because of what Matt talked about with the injury. I think that's going to be his wheelhouse. Barrett Carter, I'm sneakily hoping stays till the 4th round, but without the athletic ability, I can see teams valuing him higher. Danny Stutzman, I'm kind of thinking mentally 4th round because athletic ability. He's got so much upside as a downhill tackler that I think it's going to be tough for him to last past the 4th round. Jackson Ward, I don't know, man, because like I think some teams may see him as like a 7th rounder. I think some others might see him as a 5th at the highest, maybe 6th. I'm just not sure how that's going to go. Teddy Buchanan, if a team doesn't see that guy as like a minimum of 5th round pick, then I don't know what to tell him. And I hope the Chiefs have a 5th round pick to take him and make it pay for him. So, but we'll see. Because like I'm telling you guys, like once you get to, and I know Brett Veach has talked about it before in the pressers, and he's 100% right. Once you get to that 4th through 7th round, everybody's different. It's, you know, what teams value and what teams think they can coach and what they're going to do. It's all different. So like that's where things get a little bit unpredictable, and by a little bit I mean a ton. So like what I write on the board that I'll have put out this week, it'll be different than what an NFL team may do, and that's another disclaimer I like to put out there for people.
Yeah, I was going back to look at it because I think that the Chiefs with the final pick, I want to say it's pick number 257. Is that right?
257, yes.
So, you know, there's obviously, that's Mr. Irrelevant, so there's 257 picks in this draft. Mm-hmm. I mean, Brett Veach usually tells us they got between 150 and 200 players on their draft board. I mean, there were up to close to 300 players, taken to the combine. There's another couple of hundred that go through the pro days. I mean, the number of prospects, and like I said, I don't know how many Dane has in his book. It might be close to 900. I mean, there's that many kids that are part of this process. And some teams, like you said, you get to the 4th and 7th rounds, Chiefs are going to have let's say they got 170, 180 players on their draft board. Another team's going to have the same number, but the last 50 might all be different. I mean, teams are going to judge things differently. They're going to have different priorities. So, that's why it's sometimes it's hard to judge. Sometimes a fine line between a 4th round, 5th round pick and a guy that goes completely undrafted. And obviously really good players can end up in the 4th round. A year ago, Jaden Hicks was viewed by a lot of people as the best safety on the board and didn't go to the Chiefs until the 4th round. So when we're talking about linebackers and safeties, there could be really good players available on day 3. So good players, starting caliber players can go on day 3. All right, Nick, we are 11 days away from the draft. And like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking to Brett Veach in the media this week on Thursday. That kind of kicks off draft week for the Chiefs in a way. Next week, we have OTA starting. So on Monday, we're going to be hearing from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, a couple of the other players as they get things underway. Thursday, obviously, draft night. And next week, Nick, we'll be doing our final draft preview and going through and telling you everything you need to know about the draft, including what we think the Chiefs might be doing during the draft. And then pretty excited because during the week, we're going to be doing more podcasts. So we'll be recapping the Chiefs draft Thursday and Friday nights. And we'll come back on Sunday with our regular episode. So I think we're going to have like 4 episodes in an 8-day period. So
Matt, I am not a numbers guy, but it sounds like a lot of phenomenal draft content.
If you don't get all the draft coverage you want next week, well, then send your complaints to me because Nick doesn't care about your complaints. And
Whoa.
I will.
Whoa. They
Let me
go
rephrase
into a
that.
folder where I never read them. No, I'm just kidding. Let's be gentle here, Matt.
Well, I was trying to be. I was trying to be gentle. I was trying to get people not to send you their complaints because send them to me because I won't care, but I might at least respond with thanks for listening.
41 is the mic cares about each and every one's opinion, and we value you.
Well, that is true. So I cannot. No lies detected there, Nick.
So yes, Matt. But yeah, and then hey, we might sneak in on the Q&A Tuesday. Might sneak in another mock draft simulator. But it'll be a different one.
You never know. Things can happen.
Well, they better because I just eat.
I've been asked a couple of times about our Draft-a-Palooza mock draft during Tuesday night's Q&A.
A what?
Or did I call it? Did I call it the Draft-a-Palooza? I meant to call it a Trade-a-Palooza.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
No. Well, trade down. That's my thought.
And if I seem punchy, folks, once again, we share how the sausage gets made here. We are recording at 12:52 a.m. just because we're trying to squeeze this in amongst all the other things that Nick and I have in our schedules and everything. So I'm not I've never been responsible for anything I say after midnight, Nick.
All right, Matt. Well, it sounds like Matt is asking for this to be closing time. So
we want to get it in under that hour. So,
Matt, final thoughts here from closing time.
I'm going to leave it to you. I've shared everything I have to say. I just hope everybody has a great week. We'll see you Tuesday, and then get ready for draft week, folks.
Because it's draft season.
You've been listening to 41 is the Mic, presented by KSHB 41, your home of the Chiefs and Chiefs Digest.